What if I told you the healthiest people I know don't spend all day making health choices? They've simply designed their lives so those decisions were made long ago. Today, we're talking about how to build a life where healthy habits become automatic instead of another thing you have to think about. Welcome to Wellness for High Performers, where ambitious people discover the path to sustainable wellness that actually feels good so they can build the dream without burning out. I'm your host, Erica Jones. I'm a wellness strategist and entrepreneur, and I help high performers create massive momentum by weaving wellness into their daily life. Everyone wants to experience amazing health. We want to wake up with all the energy we need to conquer the day, plus a little extra. We want to look great and feel great in our bodies. We want mental clarity and focus that can't be shaken. We want to live free of any health issues or chronic conditions, especially those that could compromise our autonomy. And we want to sleep soundly every night without issue. Everyone knows that this kind of health and vitality requires consistency. You have to be consistent in your health habits to get the transformation. But most people are relying way too much on motivation and willpower to make the right decisions each day. And this is why most people also don't get results, and being consistent feels so hard. Actually, this approach is downright exhausting. Today, I want to talk about the importance of designing your life and your routines so that healthy habits require way less thought and far less energy. A year or two ago, I was on my friend's podcast. His name is Dr. David Jockers. You may have heard of him, but we were talking about the importance of healthy habits. And the conversation turned towards exercise. And if you know him, he is the epitome of health and fitness. He and my husband are close friends. They went to school together and they work out regularly together. And I always just assumed that he was, quote, one of those people who loves exercise. And that's why it's easy for him to work out on a regular basis. Well, he completely dismantled that idea during our conversation. He said that he often experiences resistance around exercise, not necessarily because he doesn't like it, but because there's other things he could be doing with his time, like working on his business or spending time with his family. This was a massive reveal for me because I somehow imagined him to be rushing to his home gym every day, so excited to jump into his routine. And sometimes it can seem like other people are just more wired than others for certain aspects of wellness. You may have told yourself, yeah, it's easy for her to work out. She loves fitness. Or if I didn't hate cooking, it would be easy for me to eat healthier. I've said things like that to myself in the past as well. And the underlying belief is that others are successful on their wellness journey because they're more disciplined and they're more motivated. But I think this idea is overrated. It's really more about designing an environment that sets you up to win. And one way you can do that is by reducing decisions. I'm sure you've heard of the concept decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is the psychological and mental exhaustion caused by making repeated choices over time. That definition comes from the American Medical Association, and it must be a real issue if the AMA is writing about it. I was literally just talking with my husband about this the other day. When you're a high performer, you're making hundreds of decisions every day. Some of them are small, some of them are big. Just the other week, I had to decide which washer and dryer to buy because our old one had broken down. Then I discovered we needed duct cleaning, so I needed to find a company to do that. Then my nanny told me that we needed a new ironing board. I wanted to get a better quality one, so I had to look for that and purchase it. We have a roof repair that needs to be done. I had to find someone to help with that. We're switching CPA firms, and I've had to research and call businesses about that. That's not including all the other stuff going on in our businesses, making sure our kids have everything they need, planning for summer vacations, and on and on. There are so many decisions we're all making throughout the day, and every choice, big or small, consumes your attention and energy. And because of this, when we have to answer questions like, what should I eat for dinner? Should I work out today? What should I do for my workout? Should I answer these emails tonight? Should I watch another episode or go to bed on time? That can feel overwhelming. The issue is not so much the questions or the decisions themselves, it's that you've already made a gajillion decisions today already, and adding this to the mix is not helping. This is why the goal is not to become more disciplined or build up your willpower. It's about designing your environment to eliminate unnecessary decisions. What you want to do is build systems instead of making daily choices. If you don't want to make the same decisions over and over, day after day and week after week, then you need to build health and wellness systems because your systems are going to answer your questions for you versus you having to do it in the moment. And I'll give you some very practical examples. Meals. This is one of the biggest points of friction for people when they want to be healthier. But breakfast, lunch, and dinner can't be negotiation points during your day. You're spending precious energy by doing that. It has to be planned. And so when the meal is predetermined, it makes life a whole lot easier. The groceries are already purchased and put away. You have all the ingredients needed available to you. Your system makes the choice for you instead of opening the fridge at 6 p.m. after a long day and trying to piecemeal a dinner that's appetizing and healthy. This is why people are like, you know what? I'm just going to DoorDash again. You cannot be asking yourself to make these kinds of choices, especially when you've been showing up powerfully all day. Your dinner plans need to be made for you, and then you just execute on the plan. This is what I do, and I'm always so grateful that I took the little bit of extra time to plan ahead because it makes the weeknights so much easier. And if you want to know more about how to put your meals on autopilot, I have a couple of podcast episodes that get into just that will link in the show notes. Another thing that I have systems around is my fitness routine. I already know when I'm working out, what I'm doing during the workout, and where I'm exercising. I'm not debating with myself about these things. I'm just following through on what I've already decided. Same thing with my morning and evening routine. I do the same thing every morning. I get up, I read my Bible, I pray before I do anything else. I take a couple of supplements that are best used first thing in the morning. I'll say my affirmations while I'm getting ready, and I delay use of technology because it's better for me mentally to do so. But I'm not making choices every morning about this. I decided this years ago and I just rinse and repeat because it works beautifully for me. My evening routine is similar. 1 to 2 hours before bed, I'm doing what I call a wind down routine. This is a low tech time that I use to relax and get my body prepared for sleep. Some days I'm reading in the bathtub with candlelight. Some days I'll sauna and follow up with a swim. Sometimes I'll have a massage and then follow up with stretching and journaling, or I'll do some variation or mixture of all of the above. But it's never a question of, am I going to binge watch this Netflix series? No, technology is not part of my evening routine unless it's the weekend and we're watching a movie or something. I'm not asking myself if I'm going to go back to my office to start working again after I put the kids to bed. No, my evening is already predetermined that I am not checking work communication or investing that time into business related activities. I don't even read business books in the evening because for me, it's too mentally stimulating. So rather than asking myself, what should I do this evening? And I have this vast array of choices of kind of anything goes, the question is more targeted. It's much more narrow. It's which restorative activity fits tonight. And that's a much easier decision to make. And that's a decision that I actually enjoy making because it's about building in refreshment and relaxation. And the reason I care so much about reducing decisions is not because I hate making choices. Really, the choices themselves aren't that big of a deal. It's more about designing an environment that makes it easy and automatic for me to win. Your environment is either creating friction for you or it's removing friction. So you want to think through and develop systems for questions like this. What decisions am I making every single day? Which of these could become a system? Which could be automated? Which ones could be delegated? Which could simply be decided once and then I'm done with it? Every unnecessary decision that you have to make is adding to your mental load and making it a lot harder to be consistent with your health goals. When you build systems, this can take a little bit of a time investment up front, but it's an investment that compounds. So the goal here shouldn't be to be someone who has an endless reserve of willpower. It's to build a life where healthy choices happen automatically, and systems help you create that. Well, that's it for me today. If you want more support from me, head to elevays.com. That's ELEV as in victory, AYS.com. And join me inside the Elite Edge, my weekly inspiration email for high performers like you who want to thrive while they achieve. And until next time, make time for what matters and keep showing up as the high performer you're created to be.